Stephen Doyle is with us. Stephen, good morning to you.
Morning, Ger. Morning, Will.
We're going to do deal or no deal in about 10 minutes' time. For those people who need their transfer fix, you can sit in judgment on some of the rumours that are out there. But in the meantime, we want to talk a little bit about League of Ireland. It's on-field stuff for now, anyway. Games last night behind closed doors. How did they all go? What was the scenario like?
Yeah, well, as you know, it's been back for several weeks now. I got my first experience actually last week. I was in Hungary with the Bohemians squad for their European match over in Székesfehérvár. So that was my first experience of behind closed door game. But first domestic one was last night. I went to see Bohemians playing the FAI Cup second round against Cabinteely, 2-0 win. And yeah, my first experience of a behind closed door match in the League of Ireland. And it was, look, the club, the FAI, everybody involved, I have to say they're running a brilliant show, absolutely fantastic. We had to fill out the forms, obviously, beforehand to make sure that everything was in order before you can attend the game. Going in, obviously, your temperature taken, plenty of sanitizer there, hand sanitizer to make sure you're clean and all that kind of thing. And the social distancing once you get into the ground then is great. Like they've got all the seats that you're not allowed to sit on are impossible to sit in. Each one that you can sit in is marked. So it was all brilliantly run, but it was bittersweet because you're getting to see a bit of live football. But Jerome usually down there at Dalymount Park on Friday nights or whatever other League of Ireland ground, and Dalymount obviously has this special type of character on a Friday night because you've got 3 bars under the stadium. There's always a great atmosphere there. There's always a bit of crack and slagging and people just enjoying football, and the atmosphere is just it's brilliant on a Friday. It's a great way to spend a Friday night, and you miss all that. It's kind of a little bit sad in a way. But look, the most important thing is that the players are getting to play games. And again, just going back to the football matters, Bohemians would have been obviously disappointed with their defeat in Europe last week. It was an absolutely brilliant performance by the team over 120 minutes to take a club like Fehérvár to extra time, a club with millions behind them. They're backed by an oil and gas company. And to take them to a penalty shootout was really incredible. And then the manager, Keith Long, made 9 changes to his starting team for the cup match last night, and they were absolutely superb. They've got a really good academy system going there at Bohemians in tandem with St. Kevin's boys, and they're bringing through some really fabulous young talent. Promise Amacherry, who got on the goal sheet last night, he was excellent. But I would urge everybody, if you can get to watch Bohemians, keep an eye out for a young guy called Dawson Devoy. He made a couple of appearances last season, played in the European game off the bench last week. But last night, my God, this kid was absolutely brilliant. I think he's just 18 still. And he's one of those players, Jared, that it just looks like the ball is glued to his foot. His ball control is absolutely incredible. Up against, he's not the biggest kid you'll ever see.
Where does he play?
Maybe. He plays in the hole, plays like a number 10 role, Jared, but he can go wide, he can go left, he can go right. But this kid is brilliant. I saw one of the Bohemians supporters last night tweeting saying that they'd see him playing last year in the UEFA Youth League for Bows against Pauk, and he said it was actually quite incredible to see an Irish player that was technically head and shoulders above everybody else in the pitch, including the opposition. This kid is going to go far. I think he's got a real chance of possibly making the under-21 squad in the next couple of years. And Dawson Devoy, I think, is a name we're all going to be talking about in a few years to come.
And are they going to stick him straight in the team now, do you think?
Well, he has been playing some senior games. He started a couple of games since the restart. I think last night they've got a really big game on Saturday against Shamrock Rovers. The Dublin Derby is a big game any time of the year, but this is possibly a title decider with so few games left, and with Bohemians just 2 points behind Rovers. So I think he did his chances really good last night of possibly getting a start in that big game. So yeah, he's going to play a lot more senior matches this year. And yeah, he's definitely a huge talent to watch.
Is Keith Long a managerial genius?
I'm sure he would get quite you'd probably go red in the face if you said that to him. I think he's definitely, I think he's a Liverpool fan as far as I know. He's a big Kenny Dalglish fan, and I think he definitely takes a little bit of influence from the kind of the gegenpressing that Jurgen Klopp employs at Liverpool. That's the way Bohemians teams play. They really press teams hard and high up the pitch, and they have a lot of pace in their team as well, which they like to hit teams with on the break when they counter-attack. But the one thing I would draw huge comparisons between Keith Long and Jurgen Klopp is that he can coach players to be better. And sorry, it's not just Keith Long. His assistant Trevor Crowley as well is a brilliant coach. He's been proven at other League of Ireland clubs as well, Shamrock Rovers, St Patrick's Athletic. But Keith Long is definitely a manager who coaches players to be better players. And there's players that have gone in there, the likes of Chris Twardek, they signed from Sligo Rovers from last year. He has become a better player, I think. Listen, that's not to put a slide on Sligo Rovers. He was good at Sligo, but I think he's gotten even better this year as well. Andre Wright, a player they signed from the lower leagues in England last year, he played a couple of good games at the end of last season, but he has come on leaps and bounds this year. He's been absolutely fantastic since the restart. So he's definitely, whether he's a managerial genius, I think that remains to be seen. I think he still has to win trophies.
Yeah, got to win the league. Yeah, that would help.
Yeah.
When's that game? Is that Friday night?
That's Saturday afternoon.
Saturday afternoon. Okay. Well, look, we'll talk again about that in advance of that. Let's talk about the Republic of Ireland, because obviously big game in the meantime. Big decisions to be made. A few key decisions still to be made about. I wonder actually if any full final decisions are actually made. Who's going to start at right back? First time out. I don't like criticising. Well, I'm not criticising anybody, but I do think Doherty's going to win the race out of Seamus Coleman. I think, Kenny might look at this on form, and I think Matt Doherty has been playing in the Europa League. He's got European level experience over the last season or so. He's been playing very well with Wolves over the last after the restart of the Premier League, and even before that, across the season. He can get into the box, he can score goals, create goals, which is something maybe Seamus has lacked a little bit over the last season. He's still getting forward in that, and that's not even to criticise Seamus Coleman. I think maybe sometimes that's the players around him not capitalising on the chance that Seamus creates, but he maybe doesn't do that as much as he would have in the past with Everton. Defensively, I think they're both on a par. I think Seamus Coleman is one of the best and most tenacious defenders right backs you'll find in the Premier League. But Matt Doherty has that as well. And I think when you kind of balance out what both players have done over the last 12 months or so, I think Doherty's going to win that race. I think he will start at right back. Okay.
Steve, do we assume it is 4 at the back then as opposed to 5? I'm guessing if Stephen Kenny maybe had a few friendlies and a bit more time, he may well have looked at 3 centre-backs and Coleman at the right of a 3. But I'm guessing we do go to pretty typical back 4 for Thursday.
Why do you think that will? Because anytime we bring that up, everybody's like, no, he's never done it. He's never going to do it. Like, why? So do you honestly think that there's a chance that that might be part of our future?
Yeah, I think he'd consider it if he had a bit more time. I remember asking Stephen Kenny about this when he did his first press conference, and he pointed out that there's players who actually fit the system quite well defensively to play with 3 centre-backs and 2 wing-backs, given that Enda Stevens currently plays that way at Sheffield United. Matt Doherty will probably have to change a little bit at Spurs, but at Wolves he was an attacking right wing-back, and you've got typically John Egan playing in a back 3 at Sheffield United. Yeah. You could then easily move Coleman to the right-hand side and put Duffy
it makes sense.
beside them.
But he's never done it. Yeah, did he say he would do it like that day? Did you get the bang of I can't wait to try this out, or was it like, look, I can do that if I want?
The feeling I got was more I could do that if we can, but I just get the impression that if he'd had, say, the summer friendlies and say if they had longer training camps, I think this is something they would have looked at. I don't know what you think of this one, Steve. I think they're probably going to stick with 4.
Yeah, I think you will. Seamus Coleman has played in that back 3 with Everton a couple of times this season, but not a lot, and not enough that would give me confidence to say that we could go out and play that system now this Thursday. And as you've both alluded to there, he's never done it. He's with Dundalk, he was a back 4. With the under-21s, it was a back 4 as well. So I think he'll stick with that. And as well, I think it gives Matt Doherty more chance to, Matt Doherty or Seamus Coleman, whoever plays a right back, I think it gives them more room as well to get forward from a back 4 position. If you're a little bit narrower in that immediate midfield area of the pitch in front of them. So we've seen, even this season with Wolves, Matt Doherty's chances to get forward to the byline have been kind of limited because Adama Traore is playing on the right of the attack in the forward 3. So I just think, I think for the time being, I think he will stick with that back 4. And look, the big question is because he would normally play with the defensive midfielders, 2 midfielders, the midfield pivot as they call it, in front of the attacking 3, and it looks like he's going to change that already. He's going to go with 3 midfielders and 3 forwards. So, I think it'll be a back four, I would say, on Thursday night.
Steve, I was just thinking in terms of who plays ahead of either Matt Doherty or Coleman too. Does he go with Robinson on that side and try and keep the width? Because Stephen Kenny oftentimes with the 21s and with Dundalk like to play someone over on the right-hand side who is left-footed and who would cut in like an inside forward. He doesn't have a huge amount of options in terms of doing that. Who do you think is going to play at the front of the three on the right-hand side?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Like, it's funny, I was going through the squad there this morning. I think the players that he has in the squad, I still think a 4-2-3-1 would actually be the better formation. And having James McCarthy and Jason Molumby as that the defensive pairing in front of the back four, and then playing maybe Harry Arter in the hole, and having then two wide attacking players like Callum Robinson, Aaron Conley on each side. So those two names I've just mentioned, if he does go in attacking three, whoever the striker is in the main place, we'll get on to that in a moment. But I think Callum Robinson, he's a player who can play a wide right. He's played it there before for Preston and Sheffield United. And as we know, Aaron Connolly plays as that wide left player for Brighton. And for the under-21s, under Stephen Kenny, he played wide left in the attacking three behind the striker. So I would say Callum Robinson and Aaron Connolly as the wide players. Like James McLean can play on both sides as well.
Hang on, sorry, did he play 4-2-3-1 at the under-21s?
Stephen Kenny?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been more so 4-2-3-1. Yeah.
All right, so it's not a 4-3-3. So Connolly is going to play.
Like it was, the team they were able to, because of the players that they had in there, they were able to, I suppose what you would say, maybe merge into different formations during the game. But generally, it was Adam Ida as the main striker, with Aaron Connolly, Troy Parrott, and whoever it was wide right, and then having Jason Molumby and Conor Coventry as the two players then in front of the back four.
Right. Not a million miles away from, I think, what the team is actually going to be. So in your head, is it, when he names the team, will the two midfielders actually be? So let's assume James McCarthy is fit for the moment. We don't know. He was training yesterday. Hodgson said he's not. Ireland might go, screw you, Hodgson. It's our team. He's our player. He wants to play for us. What are you going to do? Shoot me. There might be a little bit of that. Who knows? Let's say he starts. You think Molumby is going to start alongside him, and that is a 4-2-3-1 then?
Well, it would be, but everything I'm hearing, I haven't been out with the squad now yet so far this week, but everything I'm hearing from what Kenny is saying, it sounds like he's going to go with three in the middle, with three in the front line. So, that would suggest to me that James McCarthy's going to, because he keeps saying James McCarthy is a better midfielder when he plays in the centre with a couple of players either side of him. Yeah. So that seems to be Kenny wants to go. So I would suggest then there's possibly McCarthy with Molumby and Harry Arter on either side. Personally, I just think there would be better balance in the team if you have Molumby and McCarthy playing together as a midfield too, and then playing Harry Arter in the hole behind the strikers. That can still happen if you play in a 4-3-3. So I still think you're going to have the same players. It's just, which way does Kenny want them? Are
we splitting hairs, or is it actually fundamentally different?
I think we are splitting hairs, Jared, to be honest. I think Molumby and McCarthy they're not going to get forward too much. Well, Molumby might be, if he's playing alongside McCarthy on the right side, he might be given a little bit more license to get forward. But the one thing Molumby is really good at as well, and he's got the same quality as McCarthy, is spraying passes left to right, switching play, that kind of thing. So that's something that could help us. Okay, so your midfield three, for the avoidance of all doubt, is going to be McCarthy, assuming he's fit, Molumby, and Harry Arter. Yeah, absolutely. Look, the thing with McCarthy is it does sound like it's a heavy bruising that he got. So that doesn't sound to me like a player who's going to be ruled out of a game with a really serious injury. And he did train yesterday as well. So like if this injury was in any way serious for him not to play, I don't think he'd be training. And it doesn't sound too serious. That it's, as I said, heavy bruising. So yeah, I think Arter, Molumby and McCarthy are the three midfielders he'll go with. And front three? Well, as I said, I do think Robinson and Conley are the best options there. James McLean, I wouldn't rule out entirely, because it depends, what way does he want to go out against Bulgaria? Look, Kenny isn't the type of manager to go out to, like I referenced that Bohemians game last week. Keith Long sent out his team to not concede too many goals in that first half. Wanted to try and get to half-time, maybe 0-0 or with a 1-0 lead. I don't think Kenny's that type of manager. I think he likes to go out and attack teams from the start. and try and build a decent lead by half time. So if possible, he can get in front. So I don't think he's going to be cautious. Now, if he was going to be cautious, he might start changing McLean, because as we know, McLean has played both left back and also as a left winger for Stoke City last season, and as a left winger where he would get back and help out in defence. I don't know if you saw these Stoke games, but I've seen them a few times last season, and McLean was very much a defensive left winger. But I think Kenny will want to start Aaron Connolly and to perhaps get him to attack the Bulgarian fullbacks and centre halves and get into the box. So I think he will go with Connolly. Robinson, I think, is his best option on the right. Of course, he could play Robbie Brady there, Jeff Hendrick.
And who?
There are possibilities as well. But I think the lead striker, Jerry, I think is what you're looking for. I think he's going to go with Adamida. I do think he'll go with Adamida. And I know he only played a few minutes here and there against or for Norwich City in the Premier League after the restart, but it was crucial. He got Premier League experience. He banged in that hat-trick against Preston back in January in the FA Cup. So we know he can score goals. He's got over 1 and 2, one every 2 match ratio for underage teams of Ireland. I think it's 34 and 61 matches or something like that. So he's big, he's strong, he can score goals, he's technically very good, he can hold up the ball, he can play with his back to goal, he can bring the wingers into play, and I think he's got every single quality a lot of qualities that some of the Irish strikers don't have. Shane Long's got pace. He's a brilliant pacey player, but I don't think he can definitely hold up the play, but I don't think he's got the finishing attributes that Adamida has got.
Well, we'll see. And Long and McLean, not bad subs to have if you do need a cavalry charge at some point in the second half as well.